when you go to Israel, right? They had the same honey fucking trap for you because when you go there, I mean, you are a guest of the fucking state, so all the liberties are available. And I mean, your prick's still working, right? So you may want to get horny and that kind of thing unless you come with your wife. So they hire you on tape. What you gonna do? Your political survival depends
so that
on.
all of them supporting Israel because
They
they
have
someone
to.
on tape. They have them on tape.
They would not survive
Yeah,
politically.
yeah.
You know, APAC, which is the name of the Israeli group that is Canvas. It is known in Congress and in president. Anytime you oppose Israel, there is find somebody and finance them to oppose you, and you're guaranteed to fucking lose because election is heavily influenced by how much promotion you're getting and news media and that kind of thing. And Israel also control the news media. The Zionists control the news media. You know, they control the news media. They control the family. They control every fucking thing. Trump is one of them. What? I've heard some people say this, and I can understand what they're saying. Hitler failed, but he did a bad job. The Jews, one of the reasons, one of the means that is used to evoke sympathy is you have a list of how many countries they were evicted out of. Right? And it is true. But why? You know why? There's something called usury. Usury is where you're lending money for profit. The reason why they were evicted out of all those countries is because the head, the king or whoever realized, hey, when the fellas lend my citizens money and they pay the interest and not going over a certain period of time, they eventually get enough capital to buy out the fucking place. And that's what they used to do. Right? They have always been focused on economics.
Jews.
The Jews, they have always been into fucking economics because they saw long ago that economics would control politics because politicians have no fucking money. To even go for election, you need finance. So you give finance conditionally. Right now, everybody coming to realize, and it's good, because the whole of fucking Europe, plenty of them now so embarrassed that they're now trying to come together and say, hey, we have to do something about Israel because the kind of atrocity that, what's going on in Gaza and the West Bank is the first time we, in this era, are getting a chance to see how evil and the kind of destruction these fucking people do in here. What you see little children here, snipers take it. Doctors who left and went down in fucking Palestine, right? So you see children coming in with gunshot to the fucking head. It had a freedom march some years ago with the Palestinians and the money. What? Imagine a military personnel of the IDF say, again 98 fucking kneecaps today. You know what I mean? The people protesting, and them just aiming at the kneecap. But you know, you see what's going on in Palestine? Right? If people were fully aware of it, all these people passing here, right? They would identify with the train. Because you are children. Israel is the personification of evil on the face of the fucking earth, but it has successfully captured most of the fucking heads. It's only of late because the rest of the world has a crowd that most of the big countries in the world haven't serious fucking marches and parade and protesting.
Yeah, that's true, but them Israel so them even fucking business.
They don't care.
They don't care because they don't know they are the politician and as you say, they probably are them and come.
Yeah, no, serious. Yeah. Plenty of them doing it because they know the political survival depends on passing the legislation because imagine my wife, who I claim that I love, seeing me on fucking social media, fucking this little 13 or 14 or 15-year-old girl. My political career end. And I want the things that I'm enjoying right now to continue. It's pathetic and it's sad.
sad,
But
yeah.
what it also highlights is the power of religion and fucking culture over human behavior.
Sure.
That's the deeper meaning behind
I
it.
think
Because
that's where,
yeah, what
that where it started. The point that was,
yeah, what there's a particular word called Goyam or Goya. Right? That's how they refer to the fucking Palestinians and them. Right? Meaning is subhuman. Just call them subhuman, just call them animals. Right? I said that derogatory term.
Right.
So once you grow up in an environment, right, even in schools they teach it in fucking Israel. They program them from early. They catch them. In other words, mind don't contain information. You know, mind is information. So if this is the information that is being exposed to you from the cradle, eventually when you start to use your mind, all those things seem to be obvious and logical. You're seeing your father and your family and them killing and beating fucking Arabs and celebrating it. Look. In our clip that showing it where in Israel, it have a mountain overlooking like Gaza. And people have go up there with chairs and sit down with drinks and have barbecue and watching bombs falling on fucking Gaza and celebrating.
Yeah. Right. They do that even during slavery time with the African slaves. These Europeans, those Americans, remember the lynching was a kind of public affair where they had a picnic around the lynching and stuff like that.
You know, one of the things they don't talk about, that information now coming out, they used to eat. Yeah, they used to eat them. They used to eat them.
I think barbecue them.
Barbecue them.
I think that's the term barbecue comes.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, boy. Culture, the power of culture and religion.
It is the only explanation for that kind of brutal behavior, that kind of This captures the human situation in terms of the capacity for programming. Right?
Capacity for?
Programming.
Yeah.
Man is such a powerful being that if he believes he's powerless, he eventually becomes powerless. That's the kind of fucking power here. You see, mind shapes every fucking thing. In terms of how the human being operates socially, mind is the determinant factor, mind is the mediating factor. So if from early you're programmed to believe you're powerless, you're born in sin, shame, iniquity and all that, you experience it because you learn to perceive it. And the people around you who are the adults who you look for consensus from, they're the same ones who have reinforced it and program you to perceive it that way. And the next thing too is this. There's visual perception, which is the eyes, right? Which is like, the eyes is like a television without the fucking volume on, right? So there's visual perception, which is simply a matter of color, chromatic dynamics I call it, because what you're seeing on your television, or on the movie screen, on your phone, you cannot see a human being on your phone. You cannot see a human being on your fucking TV, right? You're seeing a picture, but because of your knowledge of human beings, you apply it and therefore you're seeing people there.
Right.
So there's biological perception, which is just the awareness of light and color. Then there's psychological perception, which gives the picture you're seeing meaning. When the two are brought together, you no longer see the fucking picture. Or it no longer remains a picture. It becomes an object. You know. You cannot masturbate to pornography unless you accept the mental perception of the biological of the visual perception. You have to believe it's a real woman there. You have to see it as a real woman there. Even though there are people who are so sick, they'll jump on a fucking page, where there's no motional mobility, nothing human about it, right?
They're still
but
page, they're still giving it.
Yeah, it shows you how creative the mind is. The mind is the creative faculty in the life of a human being. It determines whether he rise or fall. So a slave owner, knowing that, he making sure the children are brainwashed. to perceive the reality that they want them to perceive, because they need to perceive reality in a particular, like to accept the abuse. In other words, to see the situation as an unavoidable consequence and natural, because they are what they are. These are the reasons why self-knowledge is so important, because self-knowledge, you can't know yourself unless you understand your mind. And you can't understand your mind unless you go beyond the mind. And when I say go beyond the mind, I don't mean in terms of reading, you know. Now, listen to this. How should I do that? Cut that. Make it